Hello everybody and welcome to another in-depth deck building video here. I am Justin from Playing Board Games, and if you do not know what this series is, in this series I build a deck very in-depthly. So I take like a starting idea or like Investigator or class or Archetype, and then I build a deck that I would build for that archetype. And I try to explain my reasoning and as much information that I can muster as I'm going through all of this stuff. I've previously done one archetype for every class, and I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through Bless and or Curse for all the 5 classes to do the next cycle of these. So we got at least 5 more in-depth deck building coming your way. Today, as you can see from the title and the thumbnail, that this is a Guardian Bless deck. How it works is that Guardian and Survivor are the Bless classes. Rogue and Seeker are the Curse classes, but Rogue's a little bit fishy, and then Mystic is kind of in between them, right? So they're going to be a little bit straightforward for Guardian and Survivor and Seeker, and also Mystic, but Rogue is going to be a little bit strange. When we are doing this, the first thing that I ask myself is, what do I want to do with my Bless tokens? There are a few things, looking at just the Guardian cards here, like Sister Mary was the investigator that came out with the original Bless stuff in Innsmouth Conspiracy all the way back in the day. But it got a lot of improvements here in the Feast of Hemlock Vale. So there's only 2 cycles of cards that we're going to be building with these, but we're going to not only include cards in those cycles. We're going to obviously support those with our full card collection. One thing that I think this video is going to be a lot quicker than the other ones, because the reality is that a lot of Bless decks kind of just build themselves. So as you can see, there's some combat stuff here. There is Treachery Protection. Like I built a Sister Mary deck that used Martyr's Vambrace with Holy Rosary to just get as many Bless tokens as I can. And there's also some payoffs in the form of Nethys, to get some extra juicy goodness to turn your Bless tokens into damage. Rite of Sanctification to get resource reduction on your Bless things. Blessing of Isis, where Bless tokens can become Elder Signs. And Miracle Wish, which is here too. But there is a good chunk of Bless stuff here. And I feel like with Guardian, I'm kind of drawn to Blessed Blade and Holy Spear. I think Holy Spear is a little bit more interesting, and I think does a better showcase of what Bless kind of builds into. So I think we are going to build a Holy Spear deck for this, which I think is going to be a little bit more fun. But now we have to ask ourselves, what Investigator are we going to build a Bless deck with? And to me, funnily enough, the answer is actually incredibly simple. And it might surprise you because it's not Sister Mary. Sister Mary can add additional Bless tokens into the bag because just passively with her ability, but her stat line and even card pool leaves a little bit for me to be desired, if I'm being completely honest with you. Other good ones to look at, I think realistically, any Guardian can build a Bless deck, except for, Carolyn Fern can, but not the deck that we're building today, so she's not going to make the cut. But I think that there's, Zoe Samaras is another good example, as one who can. But I think I'm actually going to be building a Tommy Muldoon Bless deck here. The reason for this is going to sound very bad, but it's because he has Survivor Bless access, which is very powerful. We're not going to rely completely on it. I'm going to forbid myself from using the Ancient Covenant here. We're going to be using Sacred Covenant in this deck. But I'm going to use Tommy Muldoon because I like some of the Bless cards that we're going to be able to tap into because of his Survivor pool. And also I think Survivor can benefit from this really nicely. So we're going to go in-depth deck building. We're going to call this Guardian Bless. We're going to do the current taboo list, which is almost a year old at this point. And now we're going to start working. So, Tommy Muldoon. So the only hard part about this in-depth deck building series is that I only build level 0 decks, right? And then I give cards that I'm going to upgrade into. But as you can see, for a good chunk of these Blessed stuff, And even curse stuff, it's going to exist on the higher experience level. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm still going to do my recommendations for like cards that level up, but I'm going to try to go deeper into the upgrades side a bit. You also want to say this is ARKHAM build. Thank you, Holy Helicopter. Yes, this that I'm using is the browser-based deck builder, ARKHAM.build. It's very good. Use it. It's great. Let me just drink some water because I'm going to be talking for the next little bit. Okay, so Tommy Muldoon has an ability as a reaction when an asset you control is defeated. Gain X resources, where X is the total amount of damage and horror on that asset. Shuffle that asset into your deck. Elder Sign effect is +2. You move up to 2 damage under horror from Tommy Muldoon to an asset you control and vice versa. Deck size is 30, Guardian 0 to 5, Survivor 0 to 2. He has Becky for his signature, but unfortunately for Becky, we're breaking up with her and we're not going to be using her too much once we get some more upgraded cards into our deck. She is just a weapon that we can use his ability to replace ammo on, and honestly, she's actually really well designed. I think for the most part, Tommy Muldoon is a very well designed investigator, but he is like the pinnacle of Guardian fairness, and I think that kind of just like softens the guy up a little bit. His signature weakness is Rookie Mistake. So Revelation, discard each asset you control with damage or horror on it, and no assets were discarded by this effect. You shuffle this back into your deck. We are going to try to play around with this card, but unfortunately this card can be really bad if it hits you at the wrong time. So my advice for you is do not be a rookie and do not let Rookie Mistake get you. If you're going to put damage and horror on assets you control, don't spread it out. Kill your assets so that you can like replace them or have like 1 damage or 1 horror on 1 asset at a time. Don't try to spread it out, because that, my friends, is the rookie mistake. Again, with Tommy Muldoon, we're not going to go crazy hard into his ability. I think that his ability does get stuff done. Sorry, just don't worry about that being gone for a second. I think his ability is going to be helpful in this deck, and we are going to put some stuff that works with it. But we're not going to go too crazy hard into the ability. I think we're just going to do enough that we can like move the needle, get value from it, and then like work forward from there. So what I would like to do is we're going to go this, and we're just going to start by looking at Bless. So we're going to start with just the zeros and kind of talk about some options that we have here. This is what I've done in all of these other archetype building deck videos, and this is going to also carry over here. Ancestral Token is 3 cost, soaks for 2 horror, which is important and necessary for us to talk about. Takes up the accessory slot as a reaction. After you defeat an enemy, exhaust Ancestral Token, add Blessed tokens to the Chaos Bag equal to that enemy's printed health to a max of 5 Blessed tokens. This card coming out in Hemlock Vale was such a big boon to the Bless archetype because it allowed players to actually put Blessed tokens into the deck on a repeatable nature that went beyond just Sister Mary or a level 2 survivor card, right? This was like a very important card for making Bless work, and we are going to be playing 2 of these because 1, this was a big reason why I leaned into the fighter archetype, because there's a lot of this like Bless payoff here in terms of dealing damage. But also it's like the terms of like because we have like Blessed Blade and Holy Spear. But the other thing that's really important about this card is that it just repeatedly puts stuff in. And do you remember what I said about Rookie Mistake? I would not eliminate this card unless I had another one in my hand. And I would not put horror on this card unless I would die otherwise. So just lock that in. You losing this to a Rookie Mistake would be really bad, so do not make that mistake. Okay, Rite of Sanctification is an interesting card. It's a 0-cost asset, takes up the arcane slot, seal up to 5 Bless tokens. If it has no tokens sealed on it, you discard it. As a reaction, when an investigator at your location plays a card, exhaust Rite of Sanctification and release a chaos token sealed on it. Reduce the cost of that card by 2. This is really good economy. And although Tommy Muldoon has good economy, Tommy Muldoon just generally has decks that scale up higher in their resource cost, just because people feel like you can get away with having, like, because your cards are going to pay themselves back to you, right? So things are just easier to put things into play because of that. But Having economy options or like cost reduction for yourself or your teammates are very good. And Rite of Sanctification is a very nice Guardian card that'll probably like last for the majority of the campaign, even into the final scenario in a Blessed Guardian deck. So with Rite of Sanctification, I look at this card and I think I want to get like 3 Blessed tokens on it if I can. 4 even as well if I can swing it, and then I want to just start using it every turn, because anyone can use it, right? It's not just you. You can use, other people can get the Blessed tokens off of this and pay for their cards, which would be a very nice thing for just lowering the cost and giving economy to the team as a whole. We're going to also play 2 of these. Okay, we're not going to talk about Ofuda. I am going to talk about these 2 cards here for a second. So, Keep Faith, 2 cost event, fast play during any Lightning Bolt window, add 4 Blessed tokens to the Chaos bag. This card is expensive. 2 resources is a lot. I mean, it is free with a Rite of Sanctification, so don't knock that. But this card is a very good way for you to get Blessed tokens in the bag at a burst, and also it upgrades very well, which we are going to be able to tap into as Tommy Muldoon. I think that this card, don't be afraid to commit it if the Blessed token is, like, the bag is full, but this card gets knocked on sometimes for being, like, a little bit too expensive for what it does. But trust me, this is a very nice card for Blessed decks to just give you an extra boost of Blessed tokens, because that's kind of what we're looking towards. Honestly, don't be surprised if we see Tempt Fate in every deck we build for the next 5 Archetype videos. Tempt Fate is a 0-cost event, fast play during any Lightning Bolt window, add 3 Curse tokens to the Chaos bag, then add 3 Blessed tokens to the Chaos bag, draw 1 card. Those Curse tokens sound scary, but they're really not that much of an issue in the long term. Like, unless you play like 6 of them, like you play 2 Tempt Fates, and like no one has drawn any Curse tokens, they'll add up then. But this is just a very good way to burst Blessed tokens in. I wouldn't be upset about cutting this card later in my campaign, but I think at like a level 0 deck, this is going to just be a really nice way of bursting in some Blessed tokens, and just like making sure you can then, like, it's not an uncommon and bad play to do like Tempt Fate into Rite of Sanctification, even into Keep Faith, right? Just putting in a net total of it'll be, what, 4 tokens left at the end of that? Like, that's pretty good, and then also just get a bunch of economy as well. Like, these are all things that you're going to need to do, because while at our level 0 deck, we're not going to have a lot of Blessed synergy, you'll see as we upgrade this deck onwards from this point, the Blessed synergy is going to become more of a thing, and we're going to want to be able to use our Blessed tokens when we want to use them. Okay. I think Beloved's fine, but we're not going to include it in this deck. I don't think Tommy needs it, but we are going to include 2 copies of this Purified in our level 0 deck. You may commit Purified to any type of test. If this does successful, or each point you succeed by, add 1 Blessed token or remove 1 Curse token from the Chaos bag. It just puts in Blessed tokens. There's not too much to say. Okay, on to our weapons of choice. We need to do that as our good friend Tommy Muldoon, because we are going to be fighting things, and while we can use Becky, our long-term plan is we're going to upgrade into Holy Spear. So I'm just going to go to the side deck for a bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about Holy Spear. 4 cost, 5 experience, so it's very heavy on the XP. As an action, fight, you get +2 fist and deal +1 damage for this attack. When you initiate this ability, you may release a Blessed token sealed on Holy Spear. As an action, search the Chaos bag for 2 Blessed tokens and seal them on Holy Spear. Fight, you get +4 fist and deal +2 damage. So, this is the thing that I was mentioning just a few seconds ago about how eventually our Blessed tokens are going to start turning into a cost, right? And this is something that we're going to be wanting to do as much as we can, right? So you're going to want to, like, the first one is free. We can just fight for +2 fist and +1 damage, right? We can also seal them on here. We can release the token sealed on here, which means we can drip those tokens that were on hold that we used for the bottom action to then ultimately try to do it again. This is a very nice boss killer. That bottom ability is really fun to trigger, and I think especially because of Ancestral Token, this card ultimately became easier to trigger. We can't talk about Holy Spear without also going to look at Blessed Blade 4. This card's very good. As you can see, its top action is just Holy Spear, which is crazy. I don't think we're going to include this one, but it is very good. It's honestly stronger than Holy Spear, but we're going to try to have some fun. Okay, so then what we need in our level 0 deck are some cards to kind of make this work. And I think with that, you just kind of go with the traditional Guardian build here. So it's a little bit awkward where we don't want to run a lot of weapons, right? Because what happens when we do this is that we'll end up drawing some dead cards. So we're going to try to make up the weapons that we have with ways to kill enemies and additional things beyond just our weapons. We're also not going to run any guns here. We're going to look for melee weapons that get the job done. And there is a certain melee weapon that gets the job done pretty well, and that's going to be Machete. I think in level 0, we're also going to run 2 copies of Enchanted Blade, I think. So Machete just gets the job done, +1 fist. If the only enemy engaged with you, deal +1 damage. There can be times that this will be turned off, but that's what Enchanted Blade is going to be here for, at least at level 0. One thing to keep in mind with Enchanted Blade, the Rite of Sanctifications we added earlier does take up an Arcane slot, so you can't do like 2 Enchanted Blades and Rite of Sanctification, but you could do like Rite of Sanctification and Enchanted Blade. Looking at the two-handed things, again, not much here that I really want to commit to for my long-term fighting, so we're just going to kind of leave these as they are. Now, for the most part, our Bless stuff at level 0 is actually done. This is going to be a Bless deck that we're going to upgrade into, as I mentioned at the start, so we're going to spend more time talking about those upgrades once we get there. We are going to do the thing that we always do, which is take in the thick of it. And the reason for that goes beyond just what I always say, which is just it's free. But mostly it's because I'm a big believer that if you are playing any sort of Bless or Curse deck, you should put the Covenant in at level 0. You should take the In the Thick of It and buy the Covenant at level 0. The reason for this is this is doubly true for Curse decks, but the main reason for this is that a lot of upgrades in the Bless Cursed archetype are expensive, XP-wise. As we saw with the Holy Spear, it costs 5. Our ally is going to cost 4 experience, right? So if you put some experience down on a level 2 card and just buy your Covenant, you won't need to worry about buying it later. And trust me, the decks are night and day difference with their relevant Covenant card, right? So this card is, after someone reveals tokens during the test, you can exhaust this to return any Blessed tokens back into the bag. This means you do like once per round. If Blessed tokens would not affect a test, you can actually just leave them in the bag as opposed to losing that value that you had. This is my biggest recommendation, and one of the times that I believe taking in the thick of it goes beyond just the traditional because it's good. It's like taking it in the thick of it in Leo Anderson for charisma. That's like an actual real reason to take it in the thick of it, right? And I think the same is true in a Bless deck. Taking the in the thick of it to just get your Covenant in your deck and out of the way is going to give you a smoother, better deck makeup than just taking it in the thick of it to take an easy mark and like a level 2 card. Okay. Let's find our last 1 experience that we're going to put in here. Get out of here. We are going to start by looking for Bless. And I guess it's going to be Radiant Smite. Remember how I said earlier we wanted to find ways to like deal damage that went beyond just our weapons? So Radiant Smite is it. We may use Brain instead of Fist. We're going to use Fist. When we initiate this attack, we can seal up to 3 blessed tokens. We get +1 for each blessed token sealed, +1 damage. If it kills an enemy, we return it. If it defeats it, we return the sealed tokens to the token pool. Otherwise, we release them. So it's just a big-ass kill spell that, once again, just gets the job done. Okay. Now, we're looking at this deck here. What are we thinking? We have 15 cards, so we're halfway through. Our journey is halfway over. How sad. We want to look for some allies. And we want to find our weapons. What the hell? Tetsuo Mori is going to be our ally of choice to start with this deck. He may be assigned damage and a horror dealt to other investigators, and when he's defeated, we can choose an investigator location. That investigator search the top 9 of their decks for an item, so like the weapons that we're looking for, or a card in our discard pile. So we're going to take Tetsuo Mori here. He also is our first card that synergizes with Tommy Muldoon. So what we're also going to do is we're just going to quickly look through our assets. We're going to just like take a little peek through all of these. Type asset. Okay, we're looking for things that soak. So Cherished Keepsakes played in Tommy a lot. Unfortunately, because we have the Ancestral Token, we probably are not going to play that here. But we might play the Leather Coat. That might make the cut. So we look at stuff like Hunter's Armor, and I always feel bad. I feel a little bit risky keeping those cards around on Tommy Muldoon because of the rookie mistake. Like big soak pools, I think are actually bad for Tommy. He wants like small soak pools like this with like the leather coat, right? So like that might be the way to go instead. Let's just pick it level 1 to 5. Okay, I think I am going to take the leather coat. Just because I think we want a bit more to trigger Tommy's ability. It is going to kind of be our economy. And then I think we want like maybe one more trigger on Tommy's ability. So taking the leather coat just because it's like free. 0, put it into play. We also need to probably find ways. So what are we looking? We're looking for some more damage. We are looking for an actual economy. And we're looking for like another way to his ability and then probably a way to sniff out our actual thing. So. And then also we have to worry about only having 4 fist. Like we're going to go with 5 with this, which are like good numbers, but then as soon as a 4 attack enemy comes by, that's going to be a bit tough. So I think Tommy is actually worth the wolf mask here. It helps the 4 fist investigators out a lot more than the 5 fist investigators, and you're probably going to be using this like once a turn at least when you get an enemy, just to make it more consistent. So we're going to run a 2 of as the wolf mask here. I only have room for 9 more cards, and we want to include Vicious Blow. So Vicious Blow just deals more damage, which is like very important, just to round out that thing. And then we're also going to want Toe-to-Toe, because Toe-to-Toe actually works very well with Tommy Muldoon's ability, and then it also works very well with Tetsuo as well, to help us dig stuff out. We're running out of room, huh? I think I have to keep the Enchanted Blade. I think I could ultimately lose the Purified. We could end up cutting the Purified depending on how things go. I think our damage side is pretty okay. We have the one of Radiant, Toe-to-Toe, Vicious Blow, and then these 2 weapons. That'll survive us for the first scenario. And then our goal is to get 5 experience so we can buy the Holy Spear. I think that's got to be the way to do this for sure. I want one economy card, and it's going to be Stand Together. It could be Emergency Cash. We'd have to drop you. Okay, it's going to be Emergency Cash. And the reason for that is because I do think I'm going to play Backpack. Backpack 2 is coming in the future. And this level 0 Backpack is here to kind of give me a reminder to upgrade it. Backpack 2. So this one searches the top 6 for items and supplies. And that's why I went to this one and why I ended up siding in the... this one does 12, which is so much better. Which is why I ended up siding in the... I mean, I guess we could lose the Backpack at 0 and just put in the upgrade. But why I decided on the Emergency Cash over the Stand Together. Okay, I do want Glories to draw cards. I think our deck's makeup is pretty good on the economy side. I think we got good economy. I think we just want to, like, round out Tommy's ability. But I think, honestly, Leather Coat and Tetsu are kind of all we need. There is some conflict, a non-bow, between Backpack 2 and Leather Coat. But honestly, like, the only thing we really want to play off Backpack, we're looking for Ancestral Token, Emergency Cash, and then the Holy Spears we get upgraded. Wolf Mask as well, so everything's really cheap. So you could just, like, end by playing the Leather Coat. So I think that's pretty okay. Okay, I'm going to go to a 1 of Purified. And I'm going to bring in 2 Overpowers. So this will be our level 0 deck. Is it? I'm going to kill the Glories. No, I think we want the Glories. This is tough. This is going to be a tough choice to make here. Because I do think I want to add a Madame Lebranche. If you have no cards in hand, exhaust her, draw a card. If you have no resources, exhaust her, gain a resource. Because she also works very well with Tommy's ability. And I think that ultimately we are going to be going to Nethys as this deck upgrades. And I think we want to have an ally ready for that when it does happen. So what do I cut for this? I could reasonably lose Purified altogether. I think I do want the 2 Keep Faiths because it's just consistent. I think I do have to lose the Purified. It's really good, but I think it's going to be okay. We just got to find the Ancestral Token, but that's why we're going to go for the Backpack. What do we get? What do we cut for the Backpack? Probably the Glory, because it's kind of doing a similar job. It's just like lots of card draw. Have to go to a 1 of somewhere else. It could be the Wolf Mask. The second Wolf Mask kind of sucks. I think that looks better. I could go to a 1 of Madame Lebranche. We'll have to see how this goes. But we're going to have to talk about the upgrades here, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff here. Holy Spear exists as it does to deal us our big damage. And then I also wanted to play Nethys. So you get +1 Brain, doesn't give us the Fist, but when 1 or more Blessed tokens will be removed from the Chaos Bag during a skill test, we seal them on Nethys instead. As a Lightning Bolt, do we exhaust her, either release 3 Blessed tokens sealed on her, or return 3 to the token pool to deal 2 damage to an enemy or location. So this is repeatable damage, but it's also a way for us to if we need to in a pinch, put more blessed tokens into the pool if we want to do our Holy Spear. Like if we're trying to save up for the 3 to the put honor, but we're a little bit short, or we just need to we want to trigger the ability for the Holy Spear instead of the damage, we can have some choices there. But she is a very nice thing to build around. You reasonably could go into a 1 of her as well. She's not like a key ally. Our key thing is definitely going to be the Holy Spear. But this is going to work really well for this. The Rite of Sanctification could eventually go for a Spirit of Humanity, right? It could eventually just become something else. The nice thing about this one is the take a damage in a horror works really well for Tommy Muldoon to finish off a Tetsuo, to finish off a Madame Lebranche if you do not go for the Nethys plan. So there's something to consider there. Favor of the Sun, I'm going to put in the side deck just because I think that we could probably get away with a 1 of. But we're not really using blessed tokens for the test, so we're going to save that one for the Survivor video, I think. We can also get the Occult Reliquary to have it so that we can have the Holy Spear in one of our hands. Occult Reliquary, you have 1 additional hand accessory or arcane slot, which can only be used to hold a blessed or cursed asset. So like we can have like 1 of our hand slots for the Holy Spear held by that, and we can still hold like a machete in our hand if we do want to go that way. I don't know if we really need to, but it's something to consider. Upgraded Keep Faith I think is very good. I don't think you could add another Radiant Spite. I don't know if you need it, and I don't think we need any of those. Holy Spirit plus Blessed Bait, if you get that high on XP, definitely something you consider as well, but honestly, I imagine you'll just end up using the Blessed Blade. The Holy Spirit will become just the bottom action, which isn't bad, mind you. But yeah, I like the upgraded Keep Faith. Making this free is really good, which also helps because Nethys and Holy Spear are going to be putting our curve up. Again, we're going to want the backpack to get there. So that's kind of looking at things on the blessed side. Again, if you don't do Nethys, I think Spirit of Humanity is really good, especially in Tommy. I'll put it in the side deck just because, with the note that you could also just drop... You could just like leave these guys in here, Madame and Tetsuo, and just have them fuel the Spirit of Humanity and blessed tokens down the road, and then use your your spear to greater effect. And then I think otherwise you just like make the other things better. The other thing that I like to do in my blessed decks with Tommy is I don't think you could put in Holy Rosary. I mean, you can if you buy the Occult Reliquary, but I really like Enchant Weapon in blessed decks. Just the flavor of it is really fun. Something to consider. The last thing I think this deck needs in the sideboard is a Charisma, especially if we're looking at putting in Nethys. Okay, well, see, like I said, this one was pretty easy, all things considered. Ancient Covenant, we already got it. Ancient Covenant, no, not for this deck. No, it's not. You don't know what we're talking about something different. There was a stipulation we can't use Ancient Covenant here because this one's for Bless. So you got in my head for a second. No, but we have Sacred Covenant in here because this is a Guardian only one. But the Survivor one will be talking about Ancient Covenant. So yeah, like I said, the Blessed and Cursed ones are pretty straightforward because a good chunk of the deck is kind of already there. I think that, like I said, Holy Spear is what we're working towards for our weapon. These two, you kind of want to run one or the other. I don't think you run both in these decks. But as you can see, deck spots are pretty tight, right? I think that ultimately, if your curve lowers, you can only go to a 1 of Rite of Sanctification. I think the backpacks can turn into your glory because they're kind of doing the same things. Once you get the upgraded Keep Faith, you can also get the Temp Fate out of here. Like, I think Temp Fate's important at level 0, but I think gets worse as the campaign goes. So you can kind of cut that. Toe-to-toe, if your damage gets better, you want to like remove, you can like get these guys for like more damage, but I want to lose your damage completely. I think you should remember what these guys are doing here. Upgrade your emergency caches to 2, especially if you're going into backpack 2, and then these guys can just get upgraded. But overall, like, you could also go down to a 1 of leather coat as things get better, especially if we're going to go into the Spirit of Humanity. You can leave these guys here and cut these out. But we have 3 triggers for Tommy's ability, 4 if we wanted to do Ancestral Token. But overall, I actually think this deck is pretty straightforward, as most Guardian decks are. But for the next one, we are going to be going into Seeker Curse, which is very fun. I really like that archetype. So look forward to that in the next in-depth deck building. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and as always, GG's.